In this video, I'm going to give you a few pointers on where to start out with training each combat stat and the benefits of doing so. Training your combat stats is as simple as dealing damage to an enemy. Depending on your attack style and the weapon you're using or spell you are casting, this will earn you experience in the different combat skills. First off, let's take a look at the melee stats. Training melee is about as simple as it gets. Wield a weapon, select an attack style in the combat tab, and kill stuff. The attack style you choose will determine whether you gain experience in attack, strength, defense, or all three. You can hover or long press on each of the attack styles in the combat tab to see which skill they give experience to. Lumbridge and the surrounding areas are filled with low-level monsters which are perfect to start training on. Killing the cows in the cow pen has the added bonus of cowhide drops, which are currently worth about 150 coins each. Picking these up and selling them on the Grand Exchange, which is north of Varrock, is an easy way to earn enough money to buy new weapons and armors as you unlock them. You can see what weapons are available to you at each attack level by going to the stats tab and then clicking or tapping on the attack skill. The same can be done for armors and defense. When training melee, you want to use a scimitar. They provide the best combination of accuracy, strength, and speed. You can buy scimitars from the Alcarid Scimitar shop or from other players via the Grand Exchange. As you reach higher levels, you should explore the game to find more appropriate training spots. Popular spots include the Alcarid Palace, the Stronghold of Security in Barbarian Village, plus rock and sand crabs found in members' areas. And now let's move on to ranged. Training ranged requires a bow and ammunition. You are given a short bow and 25 bronze arrows after completing Tutorial Island, and this is a great start. Much like the scimitar with melee, short bows offer the best damage per second for ranged in the free-to-play game. As you attack monsters with ranged, the ammo you use will drop to the ground. You can retrieve the ammo from the floor, but a portion of that ammo will disappear and cannot be retrieved. To get your hands on more ammo, as well as higher tier bows for when you level up your ranged, you can head to the archery shop found in Varrock. One of the main benefits of ranged over melee is that you can attack enemies from a distance. This allows you to trap them behind obstacles to prevent them attacking you. Next up, we have magic, which is quite different to both ranged and melee. To train magic, you need runes. These magical rocks are consumed as you cast spells. Different combinations of runes are required to perform different spells. You can purchase runes from the rune shop in Varrock, and you can also purchase an elemental staff from Zaf's store in Varrock. Wielding an elemental staff provides you with an infinite number of runes in one element. A good way of starting out magic training is to purchase an air staff and mine runes. This allows you to cast Wind Strike, the lowest level spell. Much like with ranged, combat spells can be cast from a distance, and monsters can be trapped behind obstacles. With Wind Strike, you will gain magic levels very quickly, and you'll soon be able to cast Water Strike, Earth Strike, and Fire Strike. These spells require additional runes, but they can deal more damage and provide more experience. As you level up, you'll also unlock non-combat spells, such as teleports and alchemy spells. These can be used to rapidly level up without being in combat, and teleports are extremely useful for getting around the game. The hit point skill is trained as you gain experience in other combat stats. With any damage you deal, you gain experience in hit points, regardless of the combat style used. And finally, we have prayer. Unlike the other combat stats, prayer isn't trained in combat. Instead, you train it by burying bones. You can pick up bones from the monsters you are training on and bury them to level up your prayer. Different types of bones exist throughout the game, which can provide increased experience. One example is big bones dropped by giants. They provide more experience than standard bones, but they also require you to kill a higher level creature. Now that you know the basics of training combat skills, let's take a look at some of what lies ahead as you level up. Special attacks are available on some members only weapons. These attacks consume special attack energy to unleash extremely useful and powerful attacks. One example is the Dragon Dagger special attack. The Dragon Dagger requires level 60 attack and completion of Lost City to equip. The special attack, Puncture, deals 2 hits at once with 25% higher accuracy and 15% higher damage. That can very easily be a devastating blow to anything or anyone that you're fighting, and that's just one of the many special attacks which are unlocked at higher levels. One of the most difficult combat challenges in Old School RuneScape is taking on other players head to head, but doing so can be as profitable as it is difficult, as killing another player allows you to claim their items as a reward. You can attack other players within the wilderness, the area found north of the wilderness ditch. The deeper into the wilderness you venture, the more players you can attack or be attacked by. Alternatively, you can log into a PvP world. On PvP worlds, PvP combat is enabled almost everywhere, with just a few small safe zones. In Old School, PvP combat comes in many different forms. Different account builds prefer different sets of armors, special attack weapons, combat styles, and in many places, players group up to do fights of a particular kind. If you're just starting out, it's going to take you a while to get to grips with what different kinds of account builds there are, and what different types of PKing there is. A good place to get started is to jump straight into the wilderness north of Varrock Eastbank. In free-to-play, there's usually plenty of people messing about here having a bit of fun PKing, and it's a great place to dip your feet in. Remember, if you die in the wilderness, you are going to lose all of your items, so make sure you're not risking too much. Old School features many boss monsters to kill. Killing bosses can be extremely profitable, but often requires very high combat stats and a great understanding of how combat works. Let's take a look at just a few examples of bosses from around Old School. The King Black Dragon is one of the oldest bosses in Old School. The three-headed Black Dragon is located in a cave found deep within the wilderness, and it's known to drop the rare Draconic Visage. The God Wars dungeon holds 4 immensely powerful bosses. Groups of players take on these bosses day and night in the hopes of getting a valuable drop. The items dropped by these bosses can exceed 30 million coins in value. One of Old School's most iconic challenges is Tuztok Jad, found within the Tazar Fight Cave. Just getting to Tuztok Jad requires you to defeat 62 increasingly difficult waves of monsters, all without banking. And Jad itself can kill almost anyone in a single hit. One slip up and it is game over. Those who complete the Fight Cave earn themselves a Fire Cape, one of the best melee capes in the game. And finally, the Inferno. The Inferno is the greatest solo player versus monster challenge available in Old School. It requires you to take on many waves of complex and increasingly deadly enemies, culminating in a fight against the final boss, Tuzkal Zuk. If you're able to avoid death throughout this ordeal, you can claim yourself an Infernal Cape, a powerful, untradeable cape that is only owned by a few thousand players. Like other MMORPGs, Old School RuneScape also offers raid encounters. There are currently 2 raids in-game, the Chambers of Xeric and the Theatre of Blood. Those skilled enough to complete them might be rewarded with the Twisted Bow or Scythe of Vitur, 2 incredibly valuable and powerful items guaranteed to give riches. And that is where we're going to finish off this video. Remember, Old School RuneScape is now available on mobile. Check out the link in the description to download it free on iOS or Android. If you're interested in more brief introductions to the various aspects of Old School RuneScape, check out the videos linked on screen and in the description. Thank you all for watching and good luck with your Old School adventure.